Nintendo has unveiled a new limited-time voucher offer that lets Switch Online subscribers purchase 2 digital titles worth up to $59.99 each for $99.99, saving them a cool $20. The deal is significant not only because it will save consumers a pretty penny, but because it shows Nintendo is willing to get creative to make its fledgling Switch Online service a more appealing proposition. The vouchers themselves will remain valid for 12 months after purchase, and can only be used to purchase select titles, most of which are first-party offerings, like Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, and Splatoon 2. It should go without saying, but given some of the included titles, like 1 to 2 Switch, are already priced at $49.99, you will have to purchase at least one game worth $59.99 to get something out of the offer. Just something to bear in mind before you go spending vouchers willy-nilly. Giant Software, developers behind the Farming Simulator franchise, has announced the formation of its new official esports league for Farming Simulator 19. This is a pretty interesting development, given that most traditional esports leagues are formed around multiplayer shooters or battle arenas, like Overwatch or League of Legends. This could also open up the possibility for more unconventional leagues to crop up, as well. As explained in a blog post, the appropriately titled Farming Simulator League features 10 teams competing over a series of tournaments across Europe, with the season's total prize pool adding up to $250,000. We have a unique opportunity, explains CEO of Giant Software and manager of the sports division Christian Amon. Competitive farming is something people enjoy for years now, but it has not been an in esports. So far, we have lots of esports enthusiasts in our company who cannot wait to show the world that farming can indeed be fun and competitive at the same time. This year's league will take place in Farming Simulator 19 with a new 3v3 mode, although it is not clear what the details are. Besides moving on from competitive bale stacking, according to Amon, it will stand true to its roots in farming and combine real field work, like harvesting, with fun and challenging game elements. There's no telling if competitive farming will take root in the realm of esports, but it will be interesting to see. Former Sony CEO Kazuo Hiroi has departed the company for good. After spending the past year serving as chairman and director, Hiroi passed the baton of CEO to Genki Fukanichiro Yoshida on April 1, 2018, and agreed to stay on as chairman and director to oversee a smooth transition. In a statement today, however, the veteran exec said he had been leaving the company he joined all the way back in 1984. I am confident that everyone at Sony is fully aligned under Yoshida-san's strong leadership, and are ready to build an even brighter future for Sony, he commented. As such, I have decided to depart from Sony, which has been a part of my life for the past 35 years. I would like to extend my warmest gratitude to all our employees and stakeholders who have supported me throughout this journey. It marks the end of an era for Sony, with Hiroi having been involved in the company's global games business since 1995, when he left the Sony Music Entertainment Japan division to join the Sony Computer Entertainment America team. After that, he rose through the ranks and eventually became the face of Sony's global games business, as president and group of Sony Computer Entertainment. During his time as the helm, he oversaw the launch of both the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, and helped establish franchises including Jak and Daxter, Ratchet Clank, and Sly Cooper. One thing that is important for us is that we are very emotional about making games and playing games. Those emotions that breed thoughts are the emotions that we want to have in our game. 11-bit Studios' two most recent projects, This War of Mine and Frostpunk, all use the medium of video games to explore larger social issues. In a talk at this year's Game Developers Conference, co-founders Przemysław Marshall and Mitchell Drozdowski explained that they would not have it any other way. But, for a split second, that almost was not the case. They explained that after the development of This War of Mine, a strategic game that deals with the hardships faced by civilians during wartime, the team was mentally exhausted from working on a project that deals with such heavy themes. After This War of Mine, we were very mentally tired. We did not want to do this hard mentally tiring game. So we thought, hey, maybe we will do some game as game, with a cool idea and cool gameplay, says Marshall. But at the end it just sucked. This was the moment that we realized, hey, from now on we will do meaningful games. We cannot do another game without having this message inside. It just is not in our DNA. Finding mechanics through context. For This War of Mine, the 11-bit team knew that they wanted to create a game to communicate the harsh realities of being a civilian in a country afflicted by war. But they were not certain how such a game would be received. We understood that before us there was a project that could change our lives, and it was an instant revelation, said Marshall. Until the day of launch, we did not know how people would react to the significance of the game, but we went for it. We knew the risk, but we also knew the importance. Wood, they explain, is key to 11-bit best development process. It forms a bond between art and gameplay, and is a key consideration from the very beginning of a project. You will better understand the reality of the game if you do some research. You will grab the mood. You will grab detail. You will grab nuances that you have not been exposed to before, explains Drozdowski. Discovering facts about the world they were building directly influenced decisions, large and small, about how This War of Mine would function. Knowing that snipers kept eyes on city streets during the day meant that civilians had to function at night, while the lack of food, electricity, and clean water meant that collecting those key items for survival would be a core part of the game. These facts are not only facts that go into our narrative, but they pretty much go into our design, says Drozdowski. Looking at the world they envisioned, it became clear that This War of Mine would focus on the individual lives of people trying to survive in dire conditions. He describes it as a puzzle of many different stories put together in one world. War is not one constant narrative event that has a beginning and an end. It is made up of stories that affect different people, like a mother that lost her child, and grandparents that do not know what to do during wartime. Player decisions should lead to questions, not judgment. 11-bit frequently puts players in situations where they have to make decisions that have a tangible impact on the people, a world around them. In This War of Mine, that could be making the decision to steal food and supplies from another group of struggling survivors, putting yourself at risk to save a stranger, being attacked by bandits. While some of those situations seem morally black and white on the surface, Drozdowski says that they wanted to emphasize the murky nature of the complex situations faced by people fighting for survival. If you enter someone's house, you are basically an intruder, he explains. It's not someone fulfilling the quest. At this point in the talk, Dostoevsky was speaking about this war of mine. But many of these concepts apply to Stepank as well. 11-bit tends to stay away from scenarios where players can find a perfect solution. It's largely impossible to satisfy both sides of a conflict, or do things without suffering a cost of some sort. We wanted to not judge the behavior of the player, but we wanted to create a moral world that would teach him about his decision. We wanted to achieve some kind of interaction with the player where we ask him questions, and he had answer in his head. Part of this means that death is as valid of an ending as survival.